Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you're all doing good. Of course, it is a Tuesday evening, meaning it's Vara After Dark discussion stream time, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of random stuff has happened over the past couple of days that I really wanted to talk about, and a couple of these I'm going to end up doing videos on. And there's a couple of small updates to topics I've previously discussed, like Super Mario. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the movie because while the news cycle is kind of dying down surrounding this film, it's still breaking records, it's still doing great at the box office, and it's always good to talk about something positive, and Super Mario Brothers has been pretty positive. This was a movie that I personally thought was pretty good. Was it perfect? No, but it definitely was not as bad as a lot of Hollywood entertainment is nowadays. And I wanted to kind of update some of the numbers because it is now projected to make $1 billion before even opening in Japan. And we knew like a week ago after launch weekend that it was going to hit $1 billion. There's no way at this point that it's not going to, judging by how much it's already made. But it seems like things are getting, you know, even better for them because before even opening in Japan, it's going to hit $1 billion now. We're going to be talking a bit about Jonathan Majors. I haven't really done a lot of videos on Jonathan Majors, primarily because it's one of those situations where obviously we have information publicly, but we really don't have a lot, and people are very quick to judge, and obviously I've covered this, so I've given my general opinions on the situation, but until someone has been kind of proven guilty, it's hard to judge because I don't think that someone should get fired from companies and kicked out of the industry based on, you know, accusations. But things are looking pretty freaking bad for Marvel because Jonathan Majors' manager and PR firm have now dropped him, and it gets even worse for him because now, as of, I think this, it was like 2 hours ago, he has been dropped from a number of projects as well as his management and publicity team, like I just mentioned. Now he is no longer part of the adaptation of The Man in My Basement. I heard they're giving that one to Ezra. An ad campaign for the Texas Rangers MLB team and a Fifth Estate Otis Redding biopic. So he is currently attached to no projects besides the Marvel shows and movies that he's part of because, of course, he is playing Kang. He's the big baddie for Phase 5, and he has already filmed Loki. We know that he is already, cast for a couple of other films, but a lot of people are questioning now if there behind the scenes is kind of more information circulating that his management and publicity team knew about, and they decided to kind of jump ship before it all went public. And at this point, the only company that is standing behind him is Marvel. So we're going to chat about that a little bit. Is there any evidence against him? The thing is that he was arrested and charged a few weeks ago when the situation originally happened, so that it's not like, you know, he was just being accused of something. He was arrested, but as far as we know, his, I believe it was his girlfriend, did not press any charges or anything against him, and we don't have any other information besides what initially happened. But to me, it sounds like there's something more going on. We're also going to be chatting about The Little Mermaid. I personally do not really have any interest in this film at this point. I do like the original animated film. I've talked about it a couple of times at this point, and I would like for them to faithfully adapt this movie, but that's not going to happen. And now we are actually hearing that they are completely changing the end of the movie. So when Disney has released live action adaptations, they usually re-release merchandise. They try their very best to release books and of course, like dolls, action figures surrounding these movies, so kids will go, oh, I really want, you know, more merchandise around this, and then they make a boatload more money. And the tie-in book was leaked, it appears, and it reveals Ursula is now defeated by Ariel instead of Prince Eric, which classic Disney, taking away any role that the male really had in the movie, and now they're making it all about Ariel, which of course the movie always focused and centered around Ariel, but at the end, Prince Eric, you know, saves her and saves everybody. And that was like, that's why a lot of people ended up liking him, because he actually helped. And, well, he's not helping anymore because it seems like they've done away with that storyline. I wish I could say I was surprised. There's nothing that they could do at this point that could surprise me with this movie. We're also going to be chatting about Quidditch. Because Warner Brothers Games, this was yesterday, revealed a new Harry Potter Quidditch Champions title. It is a Quidditch-based multiplayer game, which of course has upset people because we didn't get full-on Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy. We heard that there were no plans for it. Now we can clearly see that they decided to greenlight this other project and go in this direction instead of having it in Hogwarts Legacy, which is just stupid, because if you're going to make a game with these features and you just made a game that already had flying, you might as well just put it in that game. But of course, they want money. But it's not specifically about the game itself, because we are only hearing that they are going to do a closed beta, a closed playtest, but journalists are actually very, very pissed off at this. They are now putting out articles like this. There's no way people want to play Quidditch this badly. And of course, one of their major complaints is that people shouldn't want to play this game because it's based on the wizarding world. And boo-hoo-hoo, JK will end up profiting off of it, and you shouldn't want to play this game. And of course, we only got a little bit of footage of it, but they're trying to twist it as, this doesn't even look that good, and if you're simping for it, you know, you're the type of person that they're making these cash grab games for, and you know, they could have easily put this in Hogwarts Legacy, which I do agree on. I wish that they had just put it in a game we already all paid for, but of course, they are very, very angry that there is another Harry Potter game releasing that people are excited for. And then I've got a few kind of smaller side topics that we might get a chance to cover. Specifically Guardians of the Galaxy, because Guardians of the Galaxy is looking like it is going to be the next box office bummer for Marvel, since the box office estimates currently are not looking good. And of course, we're talking about an MCU film here. It's going to make some kind of money. It's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars, but all of their films are now, you know, barely hitting the mark they needed to, or in some cases, they're just getting over that line of making their money back, never mind a profit. We also may get a chance to talk about Emma Watson, because today she marked her 33rd birthday with a very personal Instagram post. Actually, let's start off with this. The actress and former Harry Potter star who celebrated the milestone over the weekend returned to Instagram after a break from the platform and gave fans a detailed life update. I don't have anything really super positive to say about Emma Watson. She is one of the actors who, of course, trash JK for having her own opinions, and even Emma Watson, I think this was about a year ago, had said, I would totally rejoin the franchise if JK would give it up, if she wasn't part of the franchise anymore. And of course, that just sounds completely absurd, like you want the creator of a franchise to give it up because you don't like her. But because it's her birthday, she decided to share a post. And this Instagram post, let me find it because I guess this article doesn't have it. Emma Watson birthday post. It was hard for me to read. Now, I'm not, I like emojis, right? I think emojis are cool, but this post that she made just truly screams to me someone that tries to act young. She's only 33, but I feel like she's having a bit of a midlife crisis because her post is just so ridiculous. Where is it? Why can't I find a picture? Why do none of these articles just have a picture? A screenshot? Emma Watson Instagram. Did she delete it? Uh-oh. Oh, she deleted it. That's too funny. Let me hide my screen, because I know that it's in Discord. I was trying to find an article with it, but I guess it doesn't matter. Uh-oh. See, that's why I hide my screen. Because I just opened a bunch of random shit. Let me find it. Emma freaking Watson. Here it is. Goodness gracious. Look at that long post. It's just, it's such an ugly post. With all the emojis and like the stickers and all the tags. It just, when I see this, I do instantly think, wow, someone's going through something. It's almost like she's going through a midlife crisis here. But in this, she thanks a lot of people, a lot of companies like Prada, but she also talks about a Saturn return, and she's just getting absolutely obliterated over this. She just sounds absolutely crazy. Emma has hit the wall. I guess so. This is 33. Holy moly. Who even says holy moly? Oh, God. It's just so bad. Anyway. There's nothing to really talk about here besides Emma Watson sounding like a fucking lunatic. And sometimes we just have to highlight the lunatics. Good old Emma. She doesn't know what she's gonna do with her life now. She can't work for Disney anymore. She can't work for Warner Brothers anymore. I don't even know what she's gonna be doing with her life after this. I don't even remember the last movie that I saw her in. Poor Emma. It's a cry for help, Vara. Help for her career. Yeah, I mean, it's probably just a way to get attention. Of course, that's all that it boils down to with actors and actresses who go on social media. They try to act relatable. They try to act like, I'm just like you. Thank you, Biolithic, for the $2 super chat. Epic live troll Vara with the missing post. Huh? Shazam does. Yeah, well, Shazam sucks now. Good talk, good talk. So, what do we want to really start with? Besides, yeah, I guess we'll start with Super Mario Brothers. I've been covering this movie at lengths because I thought it was good. Was it a 10 out of 10? No. But it was like an 8.5 in my opinion. I thought it was just solid entertainment. I enjoyed it. I will watch it again one day. But a major thing that I talked about with this film is the fact that journalists just do not get it. They do not understand Mario. They do not like Mario. And they got absolutely roasted for their awful opinions. And it's been making a boatload of money, which is great. It does raise the question, how much is Hollywood going to milk video game adaptations? Because of course, people are talking about them doing a Mario cinematic universe now. I'm not behind that. I mean, if they can make good movies like this, but, well, once you start getting into a cinematic universe, that goes downhill. We've seen it happen time and time again. But now the movie is actually projected to make over $1 billion before even opening in Japan. So, the Super Mario Bros. Movie's success shows no signs of slowing down, as it's now projected to easily reach the $1 billion mark at the international box office. This comes before the film has even debuted in Japan, which will likely give the film another huge wave of success, just as it's dying down elsewhere. We knew that this movie was going to be successful. We knew that it was going to be a hit. I mean, come on, when you hear about Mario, you think of success, or I guess at least I do. And I'm just glad that this movie wasn't complete trash. It says, though, this projection comes as the most recent reports put Mario's earnings at $678 million, around $350 million coming from outside of the US. It's even being reported that Mario is the #1 film in 26 countries right now, fighting off other big hitters such as John Wick 4 and Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I like John Wick. John Wick 4 was good. Do not get me wrong. And I obviously think that, yes, it was a competitor to Mario. But Dungeons & Dragons? I have heard no one talking about Honor Among Thieves besides people saying it's falling off of the box office charts. Nobody's going to see it, and I completely understand why. It is not the worst movie ever, but it is not great. Dungeons & Dragons is like a 6 to a 6.5 at most. It just wasn't as good as something like John Wick 4 or Super Mario Bros. And there was absolutely no reason to spend money to go and see D&D unless you are a die-hard D&D fan and you've already seen Mario 5 times and John Wick 3 times and you're going, you know what, I'm gonna switch it up this week. It is one of those movies that is fine to watch, like, in your home, on demand, right? It's one of those films, not you go and spend a bunch of money for tickets and food, because the movie's just dull. It says, though, this latest update comes courtesy of Deadline, who have just shared the latest figures from the international and US box office. It doesn't say what they think it's going to make in Japan specifically, but I would assume it's going to make a couple $100 million. Maybe like 200 million from Japan. I mean, we obviously do not know. Maybe 3. But it says, in response, Axios shared that the film could make a total of $1.2 billion at the global box office. Perhaps most impressively, the film looks to break yet another record. While it was already the fastest-growing animated film, overtaking Frozen 2, Deadline is now also reporting that it's the fourth most successful film opening in IMAX, and that's also not even mentioning the fact that it is the largest video game adaptation ever now, which is insane because the movie's only been out for, 2 to 2.5 weeks at this point. It is breaking shit tons of records, which I think is great. It's a solid movie, really entertaining experience, and I do recommend that people see it. Of course, given that this is the first non-video game outing for the Mario Brothers in years, it's hardly surprising to see the movie do so well. The series has fans of all ages, and the series has never taken advantage of that as much as, say, Sonic the Hedgehog, which always seems to have some sort of non-gaming project in the works. I hate this. How they are trashing another franchise and saying, like, oh, something like Sonic the Hedgehog completely takes advantage of fans while listing absolutely no evidence. They're saying, oh yeah, they always have non-gaming projects in the works, yet they don't list them. I hate this, but you know what? It's the gamer. Okay, I don't expect much else from the gamer, and we are going to be talking about another gamer article when we talk about Hogwarts and the wizarding world, but it says, even putting the success of the games aside, it's not surprising to see the film do so well. Yeah, I'm not really surprised either. This is the third Illumination movie to hit over $1 billion, Well, it hasn't technically hit a billion yet, but I mean, it's going to. It will be the third Illumination movie to hit a billion. It's breaking tons of records. And when we heard that they were doing a Super Mario Brothers movie, I think we all kind of expected this to happen. But yeah, just some more good news surrounding this film that I thought that I would update you guys on quickly. But yeah, it is now projected to make over $1 billion before even opening in Japan, which is crazy. Next, we're going to talk about Jonathan Majors, something a little bit less positive, but this should be relatively quick as well. Everyone's kind of arguing over this topic. There's a lot more information I wish that we had, because as someone who is very, against cancel culture, I am obviously sitting here talking about the facts we know, but unfortunately, we don't know a lot about this. To me, it sounds like something else is going on behind the scenes that maybe the companies that work with him know, that his PR firm knew, that they're just not announcing yet, or maybe they are worried that information is going to be released soon, so they're all publicly trying to distance themselves from him now while they are still in the clear. It's definitely a questionable situation. Jonathan Majors' career is over, the end. Yeah. I don't think that it should be until he has been proven guilty, because that's just my stance on basically every single matter, but it does seem like his career is over. Everyone is dropping him, no one wants to work with him anymore, and at this point, the only company that is still behind him is Disney for Marvel. And I feel like the only reason why they haven't publicly distanced themselves from him is the fact that he is in upcoming projects like Loki. He is in Loki season 2, and Loki season 2 has already been filmed. So they can't just recast him, or else they would have to get the whole entire cast back, and they'd have to refilm shit tons of scenes, which they could do if they feel strongly enough about it. But it's not like they hired him and it's still going to be 2 years or 3 years before another movie with him comes out. They've already filmed upcoming content with him. So, like, they're in a very kind of tough situation, a tough spot at this point. So, this is a Cosmic Book News article that we'll start with. Jonathan Majors' manager and PR firm have dropped him. So, it's learned that Jonathan Majors' talent manager and the PR firm involved with the 33-year-old actor have dropped the Marvel and upcoming Avengers star, which follows his recent arrest in New York City. According to Deadline, he has been dropped by his talent manager, Entertainment 360, which is said to be due to issues of the actor's personal behavior. It's further said that the company also dropped ties with the actor last month. That's not all. According to the report, Jonathan Majors was supposed to attend a fashion company Valentino's Met Gala this year, but it is said he and Valentino mutually agreed that the actor would not be appearing as one of their guests. And a couple of weeks ago, when the news about his arrest dropped, we also heard that I believe it was like the Army had a bunch of advertisements that he was supposed to be in, and they decided to air edited version of those advertisements and decided not to go forward with that. And we're also hearing more information now. He has now been dropped from a number of projects. An adaptation of The Man in My Basement. I know I made the joke earlier, but I hear that one's going to Ezra. An ad campaign for the Texas Rangers MLB team, and a Fifth Estate Otis Redding biopic. I personally have no interest in any of these things. Jonathan Majors is not an actor that I particularly like. I don't have anything against his acting. I've never watched something and gone, oh my god, that actor is so amazing. He is so talented. But The Man in My Basement, a Fifth Estate biopic, Texas Rangers, I just don't care. Now, what I do care about is the MCU, even though the MCU is in a state of disaster. I still want to know what they are gonna do with the MCU. It's very hard to not sit here and fucking laugh when you guys are making jokes like Kane, the domestic abuser. But my one problem here is the fact that we've heard nothing else. Yes, he was arrested, but allegedly, right, take it with a grain of salt, the text messages between him and his girlfriend were leaked where she said, "I'm so sorry this happened to you, and I'm gonna do my best to get these charges dropped from you, and like I would never want this to happen to you, and I'm so sorry." And she was acting like it was all a big misunderstanding, which yes was supposed to help clear his name and his image, but also we've heard nothing else. So at this point it's very hard to sit here and go, you know, we should give him a chance? Because clearly something behind the scenes is happening. Whether he is getting in arguments with these companies, whether something else has been charged against him, or something else has been updated behind the scenes, clearly we do not know everything at this point. And people have been roasting him. Discussing Films decided to shut the replies off on this, which I understand. There are a lot of people debating over this. Did he really do something so awful he deserves to be fired from every company? Of course, his name is trending over on social media right under Henry Cavill because Henry Cavill is superior. And, hey, are we recasting Kang? Because I know the perfect actor. But everyone is very heated over Jonathan Majors, which I completely understand. Let's read a couple. Yeah, they shut their comments off. Kind of a bitch move in my opinion. Here's an IGN one. Long story short, it's over. Of course, whenever people are talking about Jonathan Majors now, they also are talking about Ezra Miller, because you look at someone like Jonathan Majors, and yes, I do genuinely believe that's the end of the line for him. I think his career is severely damaged at this point, but also look at things like the Ezra Miller situation. He got away with so much, and companies are still loving him, still simping on him. Clint, thank you for the 2. Major should have gone full Ezra, then he'd be okay. Exactly, and that's what people are pointing out, is that Ezra is, like, untouchable, and someone like Jonathan Majors is not. Even though they have been, I'm not looking to get sued, accused of doing the same things to women. Again, I'm not gonna get sued. It's alleged, but Ezra... fucking Undertaker chokeslammed a woman at a mall, I think it was, and Jonathan Majors also allegedly hit a woman. So I don't know, are we creating like the villain Avengers here? Like, are we? Because I know a couple actors that would fit in great. Yeah. Marvel centered all their films around this brother for like the next 10 years. They're fucked. It's true. This is maybe this is something that they should look at going into the future, is maybe you shouldn't plan like 10 years worth of movies around one actor / one villain, right? Because if they didn't and they just, you know, had a movie series that went 2 or 3 years and then they moved on, they wouldn't face this problem. No one wants to see the same villain for 10 freaking years. And maybe this will help them change their strategy a little bit. Oh, was that a pub? Oh, okay. Excuse me, I'm terribly sorry. I wouldn't want to get the facts wrong. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? I agree. Even though we're hearing a lot of bad things about him, I do still stand firm in companies should not be firing him. Maybe they know something behind the scenes that we do not, and that is why they are firing him. I think they are just afraid of the PR backlash, and that is why they are. But yeah, we ultimately don't have any more information, and all of this news is dropping right around the same time, which makes a lot of people think that there are updates that we simply just don't know about. But yeah, that's all that I really had to talk about with Jonathan Majors. He has now been dropped by his talent agency. He is being dropped from multiple Hollywood projects, not Marvel yet, but it's unlikely that they will, you know, stay silent for forever. They've stayed silent on it so far. A lot of people feel like now, with all of these other companies dropping him and all of these other agencies dropping him, they most likely will make some kind of statement in the near future. I mean, it worked with Thanos. Well, Thanos was around for, what, 5 years? Disney didn't hesitate to fire Johnny Depp and he was innocent. True, which is why I do not... That is why I do not believe that companies should be firing actors the second something controversial happens, unless they have been proven guilty. I understand if they want to say, you know, we're doing an internal investigation. For right now, projects with him are paused. I completely get that. I am in agreement with that, but you should not be straight up firing people unless something has been in a court of law proven against them. I know that it's very easy to look at the Jonathan Majors situation and go, I mean, he was arrested, and I do agree. I mean, he was arrested, which doesn't sound great for him. But we've seen this happen so many times where people get unfairly fired and then we find out they are innocent or they were fired over, you know, a misinterpretation of something that they did or said. Gina Carano, Johnny Depp. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It was one of his variants. Maybe. Always a very, very likely possibility. But yeah, I get it. People are very heated over him. People are also raising the question, what the hell is going on? What are you guys doing? But I don't think that we're going to get an answer anytime soon. You know, all these companies don't even want to be attached to any kind of drama, guilty or not. Oh yeah, 100%. Most companies don't want to be attached to any kind of controversy or drama unless they feel they can market it. If they feel like, oh, this person's being attacked unfairly, and if we stand by them, it shows that we support this person who is the victim of, like, harassment and stuff, we're gonna support them. But as soon as something happens that they can't instantly find a way to market, they drop the actors. So yeah, didn't the woman who made the allegations retract her statement? So there were text messages released by Jonathan Majors' lawyer that were allegedly from her, where she said, I'm so sorry this happened, you know, it was all a big misunderstanding. But that is all we know about the situation, is that there were allegedly leaked messages from her. And a lot of people also thought that, you know, they made him look even worse because there were people who thought that she sounded like a classic case of, you know, a victim of domestic violence, but I'm not going to get into that. I did previously talk about that in another video, though, in case you want my 2 cents. Oh, also, Tolkien estate sued. Did you guys hear about the $250 million lawsuit against the Tolkien estate and Amazon? Which is just honestly, I wish I could say get fucked Amazon, but they're not gonna get fucked. It's absolutely absurd. So there is a man who wrote a book or a series. Now, as soon as you hear the name, you're gonna go, oh god. It's called War of Rings, The Fellowship of the King. And he is suing Amazon in the Tolkien estate, saying that Rings of Power stole his idea, even though his book is very clearly a interpretation of Tolkien's work. He's suing for $250 million. God, you just have to love people, you know? People really have the guts out there. Jeff Bezos and the Tolkien estate hit with a $250 million lawsuit over Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, The Rings of Power. According to court documents, a writer named Demetrius Polychron, what a name, ooh, Demetrius Polychron, filed a $250 million lawsuit against Bezos, several Amazon studio execs, and Tolkien's estate. The suit accuses the defendants of copyright infringement. In the lawsuit, he said he created, wrote, and published an original book. Okay, now let's be honest. What does the word original mean here? Entitled The Fellowship of the King. It's like if you asked an AI to write a book name, to create a new book name, heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings. It's just like a fucking conjumble of words. The Fellowship of the King, and conceived an entire 7-book series. This guy's been going. The War of the Rings. Gee whiz, I've never heard about the War of the Rings before. This is a really original idea. Holy. His work was heavily influenced by Tolkien's books. See, this is the problem, right? Is that he is saying that Amazon and the Tolkien estate stole his original work and decided to make this series off of it, even though he, for years and years and years and years, has said his work is heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings and all of Tolkien's work. So it is fucking absurd. The Fellowship of the King. In November 2017, the writer claimed he sent a letter to Tolkien's grandson explaining his love of Lord of the Rings books and told him about his books. Right there, anything could be instantly thrown out. There is documented proof that he has written to Tolkien's grandson and explained the fact that he loved the Lord of the Rings books and his books were heavily influenced. I mean, right there, there's your paper trail. It's not like, I didn't know what the Lord of the Rings was, and told him about his books. He actually claimed he asked if Tolkien's relative would review his book, and clearly he's just fucking salty because he received no response. Now, I would love for Amazon to get sued. I would love for Amazon to lose. I don't like Amazon. I don't like what Amazon did to Rings of Power and to Tolkien's work. But come on, how are you gonna defend this guy? It's like if I wrote a fantasy series, right? And called it like a game of metal chairs. A game of the sword chair. Don't steal that, okay? It's copyrighted. You can't have it. I already have it. Here is the back and the blurb of this individual's first volume of his epic adventure. Long before Sauron, the original Rings of Power were forged by the Elven Lord Celebrimbor and the Dwarven Smith Narvi in Eregion by the Misty Mountains. These first magic rings were far more powerful than those that came after, were corrupted by the necromancer, and fought for in the War of the Ring. I mean, it's clearly like a Lord of the Rings fan fiction. That's what it is. And nothing against people who write fan fiction, none at all, okay? But clearly it is just a fan fiction of Lord of the Rings. I do not see a way that they are going to win this suit. I don't know how far this suit is going to get, but I think it's kind of funny. And I thought that we would quickly talk about it. A game of the butter knives. I mean, seriously, the chair of conquest. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna write that one down. For scientific purposes, of course. Why can't we all just give our man Demetrius the benefit of the doubt? I know. It's just, you guys are being so close-minded right now. So close-minded. I mean, I don't have anything to say about this individual, right? I don't know them. I don't know his work. He might be a fantastic fucking author, and that's great, right? But clearly his work is not, it's not gonna work, right? This is not going to happen. It is a real lawsuit, right? It's not like this is like a ha-ha hee-hee joke. It was legitimately filed. I mean, I'd love for Jeff Bezos and Amazon to lose, but clearly that's not going to happen, right? Tolkien did write a lot about the rings and the War of the Rings and the forging of the rings, all of the things that, yes, were taken and, of course, twisted by Amazon, but Amazon did take general plot points from Tolkien's work and, of course, characters, and just kind of branched off and... Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. But, yes, this is real. He is suing Amazon and the estate for $250 million. This, to me, is one of the silliest things that I've heard in a long time. And I had a really good laugh out of this. I thought that this was genuinely so funny. And I know that it's real. And I can't believe it. But you know what? Sometimes in life we just need a really good laugh. And this was a really good laugh for me. A song of work for hire. This trial needs to be on Court TV or LawTube. If they live stream it, I will stream it in its entirety. I will do 24-hour live streams if I have to. Vara should hire Demetrius as a writer. Listen, I'm not about that life. Okay, I'm not gonna get sued. But he feels he's got a case against them. And I just can't imagine stealing IP from the Tolkien estate. You know, selling my book on Amazon. And then suing Amazon and suing the Tolkien estate. Saying that, well, they're infringing. It's just clown world. But, yeah, tonight, I am going to look into this situation more. I might end up doing a video on it tomorrow for a couple more laughs. Obviously, my first impression is there's no fucking way that this is gonna actually legitimately... He doesn't have a legitimate case, but funny. Very funny. I got a good laugh out of that. And, I will keep my eye on it. I'm gonna do some digging tonight. Seeing maybe if I can find any other information on it, but I'd like to announce my new book, okay, I'll stop with the jokes. The Mandalorian. It's new, it's unique. It's about a group of space bounty hunters that are all women who you know, end up finding a little baby alien. It's gonna be crazy. You guys are gonna love it. First release for the Varaverse. The Mandalorian. The Circle of Time is also gonna be the follow-up, the sequel. Ending with, okay. Ending with the Chair of Conquest. But yeah, fun news. Good little laugh for us tonight. We all need a break from the real serious world every once in a while. But we are also next going to be chatting about Guardians of the Galaxy. It'll be a relatively quick topic. I do think I might cover this in a video, who knows. But Marvel is obviously facing some major problems with their talent right now. Specifically, Jonathan Majors, of course, but now we are hearing that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 could be the next box office bummer for Marvel. The Ring of Thrones, that one's not as good. Rover, you had a hit with the Chair of Conquest. You know, I think you're hitting a George R. R. Martin wall, where you have all these ideas, but you know, you came up with your sentence for the year. Should have done it for 69 million. He should have. He would have been seen as a legendary figure if he had done that. Sounds like all those YA titles with female protagonists. Yeah. I'd read that. Sounds original, stunning, and brave. See? It is. Maybe he's just trying to get attention, because now, okay, he's got such an original name that now when you hear his name, you're always going to think of this, and you're going to instantly know who this guy is. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 could be the next box office bummer for Marvel. If Marvel expected Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 to kick the MCU back into high gear at the box office, the studio might want to lower its expectations. According to tracking estimates via Deadline, the next Guardians movie is trending towards a 130 million opening weekend when it debuts on May 5th. That would be about 16.5 million lower than 2, which generated 146.5 million in its first 3 days in 2017. Now, obviously, we are talking about a Marvel cinematic movie here. It is going to make money. All of them make money, even if they don't make as much as the company would hope, but you know, they have really been trying to hype up Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I have seen non-stop advertisements for it. I have seen so many, like, teasers and snippets they've released online. They are seriously trying to get people excited for this movie, and I don't think that it's working. I know that I did enjoy the other Guardians films, but this is not one I am super excited to see. I don't have like a giant amount of interest in it, and especially with the controversies that have surrounded, like the Nebula art, just makes me even more worried for what they're gonna do in this film. I don't have a lot of interest, and I know a lot of other people don't either. It says, when it comes to post-pandemic opening weekends, nothing has sniffed Spider-Man No Way Home, which made over 250 million in America. That's the second biggest opening weekend of all time, behind the behemoth that was Avengers Endgame. I think that it's hilarious that, you know, these journalists are still bringing up post-pandemic opening weekends. It's just an excuse to these companies. Oh, this movie didn't do so good. Well, you know, we're still recovering, and you know, things just haven't been the same since the pandemic. There's always these massive pandemic-based excuses. I think that people are just sick and tired of seeing, you know, bad content. We recently saw with Ant-Man, it did not do as good as they wanted, and in fact, it is the lowest grossing sequel in the MCU's history, and this was another film that they really tried to get people excited for and hyped up for. And while these movies are still successful in their own right, and most of them still do make back their budget and end up profiting, even if it's only a little bit of profit, I don't think that we are going to get back to the days of Avengers Endgame and when the MCU was at its height, except for the very few unique experiences, like it says Spider-Man No Way Home. Not every movie is going to be an Avengers Endgame or a Spider-Man No Way Home. Yes, there are a lot of movies that are going to come out. They're still going to do relatively okay, but I just don't think that we are going to see massive films like this in a very long time if we do again. I do like superhero films, and I do like the MCU besides the past, you know, phase and a half, but they just don't understand what fans want anymore. They're not creating content for us. They are, at this point, creating content that they think is going to elevate the brand and their characters, and it's not happening. No matter how hard they try, they are failing over and over and over. It says since then, a Marvel Studios movie hasn't even topped 200 million on opening weekend. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness hit 187, which was relatively close, while Black Panther Wakanda Forever made 181, again, fairly close, but then you have massive jumps like with Thor Love and Thunder. It hit 144 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania barely eclipsed 100 million. That is absolutely pathetic, and of course that's why Ant-Man is now the lowest grossing MCU sequel, and it deserves to be. These movies are not good. This content is just really mediocre, and people are getting sick and tired of paying tons of money to go to the theaters, to buy tickets, to buy snacks, and see a film that is just okay. None of these movies have deserved their price tag, and I don't know, maybe they'll end up fixing everything. Maybe they will head in a better direction over the next couple of years, but I don't have any faith in them doing that, and I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because they've given me no reason to give them the benefit of the doubt. What will the Marvels do opening weekend? Who knows? That is another movie that I think is going to do awfully for them. I don't think it's going to be a complete and utter flop, because there are a lot of people who are trying to defend the movie, to, you know, own the haters, but I also think it's going to be very low. I think, personally, the opening will be closer to a Thor Love and Thunder. I don't think it's going to get to a 187 like Multiverse of Madness. I don't think it's going to be as low as a Quantumania, but I think it'd be around the $150 million mark, which is what Love and Thunder was around. And of course, that's still bad. That is not good. But we've still got a long time until it comes out. I mean, what's the release date for it now? The Marvel's release date. I mean, right now it's sitting at November 10th, 2023, and this is what, the third or fourth delay, which is massive. I mean, it's been delayed by a year and a half at this point. I don't know. I don't see any of these movies doing good anytime soon. Honestly, looking at the list of Phase 5 movies, there's nothing I'm particularly excited for. It's like, I got really excited for Multiverse of Madness. I was very hopeful, and then it ended up being, you know, a bust. I do like Thor, but Thor Love and Thunder was awful. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, I didn't have a lot of hype for, and I'm glad I didn't, or else I would have been massively disappointed. And of course, they have a lot of shows in the works as well. None of these shows are good either. All in all, they are just creating very mediocre content right now, and they don't deserve to make money off of them, and obviously, they're not. So yeah, that's all that I really had to discuss with that. But right now, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is tracking to do pretty bad for Marvel. It seems like it's going to be the next box office bummer for them. But of course, only time will tell. Comic book movies need a decade break. I genuinely feel if they stopped making any superhero / let's just talk about Marvel for a minute. If they stopped making Marvel content for the next 3 or 4 years and then they came out with a movie, it would be massive when they restarted up. Because people are sick of the comic book and the MCU movies now because we are being bombarded with TV shows and movies. But if you stopped making that content for 3 or 4 years, it is a gamble, because maybe by the time the movies start back up, people will have been completely moved on and there will be a big new trend. But I feel like if they did stop, it would pay off positively for them. Like me, if they stopped making movies for the next 4 years and they restarted with a new phase, I would go to the theaters to see it, because hey, it's been 4 years since one of these movies released. I have high expectations because they really sat down and thought about what they wanted to create. But that's not what they're doing. And of course, Bob Iger has said they're focused on quality over quantity now. Bullshit. We have heard that so much. To me, that would mean 1 movie a year, 1 show a year. That's it. But they're not going to do that. They're still going to have like 2 shows, 2 movies at least. They're not going to slow down anytime soon. They might cut off 1 or 2 projects but I don't see it happening. I still maintain people do not hate have superhero movie fatigue. People just have bad superhero movie fatigue. I completely agree. If they started a new fucking Avengers Infinity War Endgame, people would be lining up to watch it. What is to come after comic book movies, video game movies? I mean, Hollywood has always tried to do, or at least for the past, 20 years, they've been trying to do video game movies. And I did talk about it in my last Super Mario Brothers video, but I do think that we are going to see a new wave of video game films, specifically, in my opinion, animated, because they have tried a lot of live action adaptations that have gone pretty terribly. And even the most recent ones, things like Monster Hunter, haven't gone so great. Look at Mortal Kombat. The new Mortal Kombat has okay ratings, but it's sitting at like a 65 on Rotten Tomatoes, and they are doing a sequel to that, but also it's not great. So I think with the success of Super Mario Brothers, they are going to push more into the animated side of things for video games, and I think that it will be successful. I mean, look at the sheer size of the video game industry. It's fucking triple the size of Hollywood and in movies, TV shows, the entertainment side of things. Video games are worth $200 billion. That's $200 billion last year. It's absolutely insane nutso. And the entertainment industry was like, what, 47 or something? Which is still a lot, but it's very big difference. So yeah, I don't think that we're gonna see I don't think that we're going to see superhero movies stop and the shift instantly go to video games, but I do think that there is going to be a kind of battle between them. When is Mortal Kombat 2 coming out? I don't know. I think that they just started filming it. Mortal Kombat 2 movie release date. So in January 2022, they announced it, and I know I just recently saw the fact that they started filming it, I believe. I don't see too much about it. Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 producer confirms filming will begin this June. So they're working on it. They start filming it soon. But Kojima already makes video game movies. Well, actual video game movies. He makes movies in video games. But yeah, we will be moving on to Little Mermaid in just a minute, guys. And this will be a, I think, relatively quick topic. You guys have heard me talk quite a lot about the live-action Little Mermaid. It is surrounded in many controversies at this point, and while there are a lot of people who are defending it and who are, I would say, excited for it, of course, a lot of Disney fans that are very hyped up for it. The more that I personally hear about it, the less excited I get. And now, it has been leaked that the ending of the movie has seemingly been changed. Now, with all of the re-releases that they do, the adaptations that Disney has been doing over the years, like with Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, they usually do release new action figures and dolls, and then they release tie-in books, whether it's coloring books or story books. They try to release a lot of new content, so of course kids will want it, their parents will spend money, and they'll be able to sell a shit ton of merchandise. And now we have found out that the tie-in book for The Little Mermaid has revealed that Ursula is actually going to be defeated by Ariel instead of Prince Eric, which of course is a massive departure from the original, because at the end of the original animated from '89, Ariel and her father are basically losing to Ursula, and Prince Eric finds a sliver of time to help save them and ends up killing Ursula when she's, you know, with the giant version of her, and she's like absorbing King Triton's power, and she's basically becoming fucking Godzilla, just with tentacles. But now, instead of that being Prince Eric's moment to show that he is a hero, that he does deserve for people to like him, no, we have to do away with the one good thing a man, I should say, does in this movie, and they're changing it. Because, of course, throughout the film, one of the, not main villains, but the side villains is Ariel's dad, because he doesn't want her going to the surface or interacting with the humans because they're dangerous. So he's always been kind of painted as, like, a bad guy until the very end when he helps Ariel and finally says, like, okay, you know what, this is the life you want, I love you, you're my daughter, I'll support you. And the other major point for a male character was Prince Eric saving Ariel, and now they've done away with that, so of course men are bad and stupid and can't save anyone anymore. In an outcome so predictable one could have seen it coming from oceans away, an official tie-in book for Disney's upcoming live-action remake of The Little Mermaid has revealed that the film's climax will see Ariel, rather than Prince Eric as in the animated original, put an end to Ursula's villainous machinations. A distinct deviation from the original, Ariel turns into an ethereal soul after refusing to murder Prince Eric and his new wife, ending of Hans Christian Andersen's original fairy tale. The ending to the '89 animated take on the story sees the mermaid, after having attempted to stop the witch from gaining the power of King Triton's trident, at the mercy of a newly empowered, now kaiju-sized Ursula. Literally what I said. Yet, just before the sea hag can crush both Ariel and her home kingdom, Ursula is stopped by the quick thinking of Prince Eric, who puts an end to her reign of terror by stabbing him with the ship. I mean, that's, yeah, with the broken bowsprit of the ship. I mean, she gets piked by the freaking ship, which was absolutely hilarious. But that's not happening anymore. Can't say I'm surprised. Also, Drew, thank you for the 10 months as a Bronze Titan. Much appreciated. Evening, Vara. I hope you are having a great evening. I am. I hope that your evening is going good as well. So, this change was first publicly unveiled on April 15th, courtesy of a Twitter user who shared an excerpt from the new book. It says, "The newly powerful Ursula seems unbeatable, but Ariel refuses to give up. She steers a wrecked ship into Ursula and defeats her." First of all, what the hell is Chucky from Chuck E. Cheese doing here? Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I can't say that this revised ending is very shocking. Okay, we knew that this movie was going to be bad and that they were going to continue with these shenanigans, that they were going to change this story drastically, and even Holly Bailey herself said that they were making drastic changes because Ariel is more than just a princess in need of a prince's help, right? They've gone on about that for months and months and months at this point. I didn't necessarily think that they were going to change the ending and basically erase any importance that Prince Eric had to this story, but, well, they are. It says, notably, this is of course far from the only change Disney has made. As per the iconic Disney composer Alan Menken, who not only provided the soundtrack for the original, but has also been tapped to return for its live-action remake, two of the animated classic songs have been updated for modern audiences, because Kiss the Girl, is offensive. People have gotten very sensitive about the idea that Prince Eric would in any way force himself on Ariel. We have some revisions in Poor Unfortunate Souls as well, because, of course, the villain can't be evil. The villain can't say things that would hurt Ariel's feelings or be seen as a little too mean. We can't have that. Everyone has to be nice and PC, and these are some of the changes that they're making that they feel are suitable and acceptable. This movie's gonna be a shit show. I don't see a way that this is going to go well. Of course, all of the trailers have gotten absolutely obliterated by upset fans on social media who are just disappointed with the fact that they're making such extreme changes to the original 89 animated. I don't really have any excitement for this. And it's not just about Holly Bailey, right? There are clearly like 20 different things that are upsetting, like the changed lyrics, the changed ending, and I just don't think that this is going to go as well as Disney wants it to. I think that it will make money because there are a lot of people that have nostalgia and a lot of people who want to give this a chance and say, you know what, I will support Disney no matter what they do because I love Disney and I love the content that they make. But I hear something like this and I think a lot of average people will say, there's no shot I'm going to give this a chance. But yeah, that's all that I really had to discuss there. And next, guys, we are going to move into talking about Hogwarts. Well, it's not really Hogwarts Legacy. It's about Hogwarts in the Wizarding World, though, because they have announced a new Quidditch Champions game that has upset journalists. Simply because, yes, J.K. Rowling will make money off of this. Quickly, though, before we get into the next topic, take a minute out of your day. If you're enjoying the live stream, make sure to give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. Follow me on social media, join our Discord. Also, consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or here on YouTube via YouTube memberships. You can donate via Streamlabs, all that fun stuff. Links are in the pinned comment and the description. Yeah, the crab looks low quality. Everything looks low quality in this movie. It just doesn't look good. Even look at her, like, CGI suit. It just doesn't look great. Oh, and then them having her at the White House to promote the movie. At least she looks happy. so bad. I love when, you know, a nice event becomes a press release. Is that why there was no Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy? It seems like it. So, chat. Guess we'll start with that. People were upset with the fact that there was no Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy. We were all expecting there to be, and then we found out that they had no plans for any kind of, like, Quidditch update or DLC, and now we know why. Because they were never planning on putting it in Hogwarts Legacy. Warner Brothers Games has revealed that Harry Potter Quidditch Champions is a new Quidditch-based multiplayer game, and it's getting a playtest that fans can sign up for now. Very Fortnite-looking Harry Potter. I don't hate this graphic style, but I also hate this graphic style. It just looks so low quality. There's no way people want to play Quidditch this badly. Clearly, we knew there were going to be articles like this releasing because journalists are still salty over the fact that they lost the Hogwarts Legacy boycott. They are mad that the game sold fantastically, and now they are even more pissed off that there's another Harry Potter game releasing that people are going to swipe their credit card for. It says, Warner Brothers has announced Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, a fast-paced, competitive multiplayer game, which is a complete standalone Quidditch experience. It will engage players in the sport of Quidditch and other broomstick adventures alongside friends, and the game's developer, Unbroken Studios, is best known for the recently delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now listen. Okay? I have talked about Suicide Squad a lot on this channel. And there's a lot of... Hey, is that Is that Starfield? Man, are we ever... Yeah, it was. I saw that little fucking clip. I'm like, hey, I know that game. God. Anyway. Oh, Atomic Heart was really good. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. It's a game that I personally think is in development hell. I think they were really, really excited about it. They thought everyone was gonna shut up and consume product, and then once they released the gameplay teasers for it and started hyping up release, and we found out that it was a live service, things went downhill for them. And yeah, I don't think that Suicide Squad is going to go as well as they were hoping. They've delayed it by almost a year. I did talk about it in a video a couple days ago in case you want to hear about that. But yeah, they delayed it by like 10 or 11 months, which is crazy. But this developer is behind Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. So that's definitely a red flag, red flag, red flag right there. But it says, according to the studio, Quidditch Champions has apparently been in the works for several years, which of course explains why it was left out of Hogwarts Legacy. But of course, instead of just being happy with the fact that people are excited over this release and that people are looking forward to it, they just have to go and attack this franchise, and they have to attack anyone supporting it. It says that it's hard to know what it will look like and how it'll be gamified, especially as you can play both solo and in multiplayer, and it requires an internet connection. It won't be anything like we've seen before, but I do wonder how the rules will be interpreted. I mean, there have been other Quidditch games. There was like a GameCube Quidditch game that was perfectly fine, so I don't know why they're acting like this is the first time we're ever going to get a game like this. It's long been a point of contention among Harry Potter fans that the rules of Quidditch don't make sense. It's a sport written to spice up a series of children's books. It's weird that one person can win the game instantly by catching the golden snitch. Matches can last for days, and there are flying cannonballs that children can whack in the direction of other children, causing them serious physical harm. Now, listen, okay? I have to warn you guys, and this might break your heart. This might be like a Santa Claus isn't real moment for you, but Quidditch isn't real. So anyone playing Quidditch is a fake person. I know! I'm sorry to crush your hopes and dreams, but since this journalist makes it seem like real human children are being physically harmed, I thought I'd warn you all. I mean, come on, you sound so fucking stupid. People have long argued that the sport doesn't need to make sense because it's a representation of the absurdity of the wizarding world. It's unfortunate that they're now making a video game that is going to expose exactly the flaws that the fictional game has. Again, there was already a GameCube Quidditch game. Why are they acting like this is the first time it's ever been done? Yeah, the classic think of the children narrative. Chris, thank you for the $10 super chat. I'm just curious, Emma Watson's morals are so offended by JK. Has she been offended enough to give back any of the money? Yeah, any money that she made, she should donate to charity or give back to JK. She should. Too bad she probably spent it. If only we could all now grow up and stop consuming Harry Potter content as if the memories of our childhood depends on it. And of course, they talk about how you just need to shut up and grow up and stop consuming Harry Potter content. And that leads into another article titled, HBO is set to be the next company to put money in J.K. Rowling's pockets. They have been putting money in JK's pockets for years and years and years. Hey, you want to know what's even more hilarious about this? Is the fact that there were people, okay, reporting that HBO wanted to give JK an insane amount of money to just buy the franchise from her. Apparently, it was way too much for them. I heard a rumor that they wanted to give her like a she wanted like $100 billion or something, which is insane, and they couldn't do that. But of course, this just leads back to them putting money in her pockets. Yeah, Unfortunately for you, and I know that you haven't realized this yet, or I guess you're just realizing this, but companies want to make money. Companies will do anything to release product that will get people to swipe their credit cards. And that just happens to be Harry Potter. It's popular. It's successful. It's interesting. I played Hogwarts Legacy. I thought it was great. I've played most of the other Harry Potter games. I've enjoyed them. I've had a good time with them. It's as simple as that. People just want good content to consume. And these journalists are just furious over it. HBO doesn't have enough money now. I mean, we don't know the exact amount, but it was reported that she wanted like $100 billion or something. I hope she doesn't go the George Lucas route. It's hard to say because she has clearly signed off on a lot of projects. And I feel like she is good to keep around the franchise. I am a firm believer in the original creators should always be part of a project. But at the same time, like if she gets to a point where she just doesn't give a fuck, it's like, okay, I guess you could just sell it. It's like George Lucas, right? Obviously, if he was still part of Star Wars, I'm sure that it would be in a different state at this point. But also, he tapped out. He tapped out. And you get to a point where you don't want someone to be a George R. R. Martin, where yes, he is signing off on prequels and TV shows, but at the same time, he's not coming out with any new content. So the franchise is sitting in limbo. There are pros and cons to everything. I laugh at the sniveling boycotters. There is no valid reason to boycott Harry Potter. Now, I was watching the social media posts yesterday and today about this Quidditch game, and I haven't seen a lot of individuals calling for boycotts, and I feel like that is because anyone who would call for a boycott is still burnt out from Legacy, and they realized how dumb they looked calling for Hogwarts Legacy boycotts, and I think that they're just tired. I think that they are just worn out for now. But I do think as this game gets closer to release, we will see more calls for boycotts surrounding it. I just think that for now, they're not worried about it because it's not coming out anytime soon. They're only just putting it into like a closed beta. And I think they just put all of their energy into Legacy and it failed. Life is a series of trade-offs. Well, of course. I mean, that, yes, ultimately is what life is about. JK has done a lot of good for the franchise. Obviously, she created it, but she also seems like she's willing to sign off on a bunch of projects because it's going to make her money, which I'm not shaming her for that, right? Creators make things to make money and to show their vision with the world, but pros and cons. It actually makes more sense to condemn Harry Potter for witchcraft. Yeah, guys, that's my new angle. I just wanted to let you all know this is going to be an anti-Harry Potter channel now because I don't support witchcraft. People will call for boycotts for anything these days. Absolutely. If people feel like they can make a difference, they will do that thing. If they feel like going on social media and yelling about how we shouldn't purchase a video game or watch a show because it's offensive or because someone behind the project is bad, if they feel like going on social media and saying they're boycotting it will make a difference, they will. Because ultimately, that's just how people are. People want to feel like their opinion matters, like their stance matters, like they can affect people. I genuinely... I'm against paying full price for Wizard game, to be honest. Maybe if it gets like 90% off. Hogwarts Legacy was a fantastic game. It is one of the few titles that is released recently where I feel like it deserved the $70 price tag. It was a solid experience. But not every game's going to be like that. Like this Quidditch Champions. Do I think it's going to be good? Yeah. I think people will be interested in it. I think people will play it and enjoy it. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be even close to a Hogwarts Legacy. And I don't think it's I don't think it's going to come anywhere close, at least in my mind. Right? I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to personally play it. I'm going to give it a chance. But I'm not sitting here like, it's the next Legacy. It's going to be insane. I think it's less about making a difference and more about just wanting the clout. I personally think it's a 50-50. There are a lot of people out there who will do things and say things in order to get attention and, yes, ultimately get clout, but there are a lot of people out there who feel like they are on the right side of history, right? That what they are fighting against is going to make a difference. And if they can feel like they are making a difference and like they are affecting people's decisions, they will continue to do that. Legacy was the best video game since Elden Ring. Yeah. It was a really, really fucking great game. I mean, we've talked about it in streams a couple of times now. There are very few games that are coming out this year that I think could go against Hogwarts Legacy for Game of the Year. There are a couple titles we don't know about at this point, like Starfield, right? I'm excited for Starfield. I don't know when it's going to come out. I personally believe February 2024. But if that comes out, it's a contender. Like Final Fantasy, Diablo 4 could be up there. Tears of the Kingdom, lots of different things that are good, but I see very few things at this point being a contender to Legacy. It's cool to break people's minds with just a simple phrase or two. Never thought I'd see the day. Yep. Picard Season 3 is miserable. I've actually heard the opposite, that Picard Season 3 is really great. I have heard the opposite. My game of the year is Hi-Fi Rush right now. Hi-Fi Rush was really, really solid. But yeah, I don't think, even though it was really solid and I enjoyed it, it's not a game of the year for me. What are the best games of the 2023 so far? Yeah, I'd say Hogwarts, Hi-Fi Rush, clearly Forspoken, because that was so fantastic. But yeah, my most anticipated games for the rest of the year are Gollum, Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, Fallen Order 2, Jedi Survivor, I believe that's what it's called. It's a week away and I still don't remember the name. And there's a lot of games that could release at the end of the year, but they also are just kind of in limbo right now. Speaking of which, guys, quick update. This Thursday, I will be streaming more Jedi Fallen Order. We need about 2 more streams, I think, before the release of the sequel in order to finish it out. But this weekend, I am going to be live streaming Dead Island 2. And then next weekend, obviously, is Jedi Survivor. So that is the plan. I will be streaming Dead Island 2. I don't think we're going to get a chance to finish it before Jedi Survivor, but it doesn't matter. We always can go back. Heard Gollum will charge for Elvish language options. I was reading that as well. I believe it's $10. So there's like a $10 DLC pack where you can have an Elvish language option. I don't know if that is actually voice acted though. Obviously, I'd assume it's text-based, but I'd assume it's also voice-based. I only briefly saw it. People act like Forspoken is the worst game since E.T. No, it's not. The game is fine. That's cool. That's your opinion. I don't think it's the worst game since E.T., but it is one of the worst games to release in the past decade. Will you be streaming Tears of the Rings? I don't know what that is. You mean Tears of the Kingdom? Hi-Fi Rush was bright and optimistic. I agree. Hi-Fi Rush was really great. Not a game of the year for me, though. I'd play it again in my free time for sure. Yeah. I'm surprised Vara didn't crash the broom more often while playing Hogwarts Legacy. Must have been lucky. Yep. That's it. But yeah, that's the plan for the next 2 weeks. Dead Island 2 this weekend. And then Star Wars next weekend. I'm waiting for 5 Spoken. Yeah, I've heard that it's going to be great. Picard Season 3 is good. I'm loving Picard. I've heard really good things about Picard Season 3. I saw someone say that it was miserable. I really haven't heard that reaction online to it, though. I've heard really good things. Was it Thrones of the Kingdom? I don't know all about that. I only know about this other game. Oh, also, that reminds me, Hogwarts Legacy talk. This is just like a side topic I thought I'd show you guys. Hogwarts Legacy launch sales have officially been updated, and they were 256% higher than expected. It sounds like they knew the game was going to do good, but they didn't expect it to do as amazing as I did. I knew this game was going to sell great. There was no way that the boycotts were going to work. I honestly wonder if behind the scenes they were expecting a larger boycott and they took that into consideration, because they're not going to publicly say, oh yeah, we prepared for a giant boycott. But I feel like they really were, and they had their estimates really low because of it. Hogwarts Legacy launch sales were apparently 256% higher than Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment's internal estimates. That's according to a senior brand and marketing manager at Warner Bros. Games. Hogwarts Legacy not only single-handedly boosted PS5 console sales in February, which is crazy, it bumped up 2023's first quarter sales in multiple video game markets. As spotted by Twitter user Teamer22, their LinkedIn profile states that Hogwarts Legacy achieved 256% to plan sell-through at launch and exceeded 12 million units in sales in the first 2 weeks. And these are some of the numbers that I have talked about. I did talk about how it made over $850 million in the first 2 weeks. It sold over 12 million units, which sounded crazy, but we didn't really know where that sat in their estimates, and now we do. Yeah, the Hogwarts haters are they are in tears right now. Within this time period, it earned over $850 million in revenue and broke Twitch's record for highest peak concurrent viewers ever for a single-player game. Over 1.3 million. Within 1 month on the market, it became 2023's best-selling video game in the US to date and has already outsold last year's critically acclaimed Elden Ring. Super, super crazy. As I reflect on my role as the brand marketing lead for Legacy, the success of our campaign still feels surreal after such an epic 5+ year odyssey, they wrote in a note on LinkedIn. I really like the game. They have actually kind of teased a potential sequel and DLC for it, and I think that they will release some other kind of content, whether it is DLC or a sequel. I think that they will release something else, but who knows when, and that's the problem. I think that they were hopeful that the game would do as good as it did, but they weren't 100% sure, so they didn't want to plan too far into the future, and now they're going, oh damn, this did really good. I really wish we had planned more. I wonder if we will get reports on Super Mario movie's earnings after it releases in Japan. Yeah, I'm sure that we're going to get some updated numbers once it releases in Japan. I mean, right now it's on track to hit $1 billion even before it releases in Japan, which is great, and it's estimated that it's going to make 1.2 to 1.3 billion in total after Japan, so good for them. I mean, the movie was solid. I just hope that they don't milk a Mario cinematic universe. I think it's a good film, but I don't want to see like 10 movies like it release. Picard Season 3 is really good. I know, I've heard. I need to get on watching it. But, yeah, guys, if you have any topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to put them in chat. If you have any questions, also, feel free to put them in chat. Those were the primary topics I had. They got psyched out by the crybaby bots. There were a lot of crybaby bots. And that's also, like I mentioned, that's why I feel like Quidditch Champions isn't facing as much backlash, because I think that the people who tried to boycott Legacy failed so epically. They are like, let's just not talk about boycotting it yet. I think once Quidditch gets closer to release, there will be people saying, we need to boycott this. Like this journalist is basically saying, but I think individuals will not demand a boycott yet. Will Guardians do well since Chris Pratt seems to have the Midas touch? While I do think that yes, Chris Pratt has some box office magic going on, he's a good actor, and I do really like Chris Pratt. But if a script is bad, there's nothing he can do about that. Yes, some actors can make minor changes to dialogue and some character development, but it's not like he's the one writing it, so if the script is bad, we can't really blame him for the movie doing bad. I think that Guardians will do okay for Marvel as a whole, but I don't think it's going to do great. And at this point, I'm kind of worried about the content. Can we talk about something less divisive like Cleopatra? I did put up another video on Cleopatra today. Netflix shut off the comments because they're hiding. They thought that everyone would be okay with them just, casually creating this docu-series, and people are not. Silly game journalists. I wish that game journalists were better. I really do. Game journalists suck. They are so out of touch. Same with movie critics, though. Look at the ratings that they were giving the Mario movie. They gave it like a fucking 45%. The movie is nowhere close to a 45. Matrix was impressive in that it managed to become a worst movie 4 times in a row. Chris, that's not funny. Aw, Chris, why'd you have to do that to the Matrix? Come on. Oh, God. Oof. Your commentary, though, I don't really care about the topics per se, is hilarious. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. I generally enjoy it here. I'm glad. The one thing the internet seems to forget is that it's a global platform, not a local one. The amount of times I get asked questions as if I live in the US. Well, that's true. It seems that Netflix didn't bother to look up Cleopatra on Wikipedia. Oh, I think they did. I think that they just decided to skim over a couple of very important facts. Stupid Netflix. They really thought that they were going to get away with it. They truly believed that people would eat the series up. For me, as soon as I saw Jada Pinkett Smith, I tapped out. As soon as I saw her name, I'm like, well, that's gotta be it for me. Well, yeah, Matrix 4 sucked. As soon as I saw Jada Pinkett Smith's name, though, oof, I was tapped out. I knew after that moment it was going to be bad. Critics get hives if they agree with the consumers. Critics definitely very out of touch. They don't get it. They don't get what people actually like. Very, very rarely do critic scores release and I go, wow, I actually agree with them. Jada, okay, epic. Jada is a legend. Her man will slap you. Listen, if Will Smith wants to slap me, can I just get it on camera? Because that's the only way you guys are gonna believe me. I loved Matrix 1 and 2. Yeah, Matrix 1 and 2 were good. 3 and 4 were not great, but Matrix 1 and 2 were solid. Vara, do you just not like Netflix? Wednesday, for example, is amazing. There are plenty of Netflix shows and pieces of content that I've talked about that I like. One of my favorite shows of all time is Dark, and that was Netflix. Wednesday was also really good, but Netflix makes a lot of shitty decisions and releases a lot of generally shitty content as well, which is the problem. Get Will Smith's son's friend's girlfriend's name out of your mouth. Oh, man. Is Netflix still losing money? I guess you'd have to look at independent projects, but Netflix just released that they gained 1.75 million subscribers last quarter, I believe it was. Which is obviously pretty good for them, but things go up and down. They might earn that many this quarter, but look at how many they lost last year in totality. What's this? What's this with Rings of Power? Rings of Power cast members at a Prime Video set. I don't care. I don't care if the Rings of Power cast members go to a premiere. I don't care about that. Netflix subscriber. I was just reading. I think about this. Yes. So they did actually add quite a few new subscribers, but it still missed estimates. Hello, webpage? Hello, webpage. Uh-oh, it's broken. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So, Netflix shares plunge as subscriber numbers miss Wall Street estimates. Netflix on Tuesday added fewer new customers than Wall Street expected in the first quarter and offered a forecast below analyst estimates for the next 3 months. So, shares of Netflix had fallen as much as 7% in after-hours trading before pairing losses. The stock was down 1.8% to 327.74. The stock of streaming rivals, including Walt Disney and Roku, slipped about 1%. From January through March, Netflix added 1.75 million streaming subscribers, missing analyst estimates of 2.06 million additions. So they did go positive for the quarter one, but at the same time, they're still missing their estimates. And if you look at the totality of last year, they still went negative. Cursed webpage, yeah, classic New York Post. Biolithic, thank you for the $5 super chat. What do you think of the movie Brazil? I have not seen it. Thank you for the $5 though. When is the Varaverse premiere? When we come up with a name that isn't the Varaverse. Do they still plan to restrict password sharing? Yes. I was actually, again, Netflix released a lot of information earlier, and they said that this article says it as well, the company is going to be rolling out its solution for password sharing, and basically they are going to start blocking devices, and you can't unblock them. There's something. This article doesn't really go into it a ton. Yeah, this article doesn't go into it a ton. One second. I know that I had it in Discord, so let me hide this and find it real quick, because I believe it is in messages. Yes, here it is. Unhide. Where is it? Oh, no, that is not it. Oh, it didn't actually save it. Okay, thanks, Twitter. Yeah. In their anti-password sharing efforts, Netflix will start blocking devices after a certain period of time that attempt to access an account without paying properly. Netflix is really, really, really trying with password sharing to eliminate it. There's a lot of people who are obviously very, very pissed with Netflix over this. We'll have to see what they actually implement, because months ago they were supposed to start implementing things and blocking devices, and they didn't do it, but now they're saying that they've got a new idea to block devices after a certain period of time, and of course we don't actually know what that period of time is. So we'll see. Who knows? But yeah, that was interesting. Netflix is at it again. Netflix doesn't put out enough good content. I mean, Netflix is just yikes. But yeah, if you guys have any other topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to leave them in chat. Oh, I had one other topic, which, yeah, it's a bit of a side topic, because in I believe it's tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow. The Mandalorian Season 3 premiere releases, and we don't know how the show is going to end, but it seems like, potential spoiler alert, that they are going to be killing off Mando, and it seems like they are doing that because of Pedro Pascal. It seems like Pedro Pascal is done with Mandalorian, and according to rumors, he had a falling out with Disney, and that is why it looks like they're heading in the direction of killing Mando off, and Bo-Katan is going to replace him. But of course, Mandalorian Season 3 has not been good. It has had some major inconsistencies. So, a new rumor claims that Pedro Pascal had a falling out with the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm following the conclusion of The Mandalorian Season 2, and that his character could be written off or even killed off in the Season 3 finale. I said this like a year and a half ago, that I thought after Season 3 he was going to be out, primarily because he's working on The Last of Us. Even though he's done other projects like Game of Thrones and he is in Mandalorian, he is the type of actor, at least in my opinion, that really only work on one thing at a time. And he's just really focused with Last of Us currently. We don't know how long that will last, because, spoiler alert, he's gonna die soon, either in Season 2 or 3. But according to a new rumor, they have decided to go in the direction of pushing Mando to the side because of Pedro Pascal. It says amid a number of other rumors, including the announcement of 3 new Star Wars films, with one of them being a Dave Filoni-led film spinning out of the Mandalorian timeline that was confirmed just days later at Star Wars Celebration, Snyder also claimed Pascal's Din Djarin character could be written off the show. We'll see tomorrow when it releases. I definitely think that this is a possibility, though. He said, I'm told Pedro Pascal also had a big blowout with Disney during Season 2 and was barely in for Season 3, which is why the character has been sidelined a little bit in favor of Bo-Katan. He would go on to add, and so this source mentioned that who knows if Pedro Pascal is even back next season for Mando, or if his character walks away somehow in the finale or dies. This is just what the source is poised to believe, because they know Pedro, I don't think, has been super happy. I'm kind of out of Mandalorian. I liked Season 1 a lot. Season 2 had really good moments as well, but Season 3 has just been a bust. As soon as companies start bringing in people like Lizzo in what is supposed to be serious roles, I'm just tapped out. And of course, the show's been surrounded in controversy because they fired Gina Carano. I had no excitement for this show. I have had no excitement for it, and they could cancel it tomorrow, and I would not care at this point. The Mandalorian will take over, and that's my new show, guys. Like I told you earlier. Specifically discussing the Book of Boba Fett, Overlord DVD had said Kennedy's alleged next move against Favreau was corrupting the Book of Boba Fett. She couldn't directly interfere with his production, but Kennedy is clever, devilishly clever. When she saw that Robert Rodriguez wanted to introduce the idiotic Vespis into Book of Boba Fett and Favreau hated the idea, Kennedy approached the marketing department and got them to say, oh yes, we can sell those. There have been a lot of Star Wars and Mandalorian-based rumors. They could kill the show tomorrow. I wouldn't really care. It was good at first. Kathleen Kennedy, unfortunately, though, needs to go. I completely agree, Shadow Man. If Kathleen Kennedy was to leave Star Wars, I don't think that it would save it. I think they have gone in a very bad direction with all of their Star Wars content so far, and they have greenlit a lot of bad content. But I feel like if someone better was the primary person signing off on projects, I think it would get a little bit better, or at least it hopefully would get a little bit better. At what point of Disney films do you think I should not let my child watch? Moana being the last? I can't say. You as the parent need to decide that for yourself. Side note, Moana was good. This is a random side note since you mentioned it. Did you enjoy The Last of Us? The Last of Us was another series that had okay moments, but in my opinion, it wasn't a 10 out of 10. They definitely made some changes, a lot of pacing changes that I personally was not a fan of. Kennedy is jealous of Favreau? Oh yeah. At least from what it seems, she is definitely very jealous. Kathleen Kennedy is not going anywhere. I agree. I think that she is here to stay. I know that some people think that she will leave after Indiana Jones and that they're starting to phase her out. I was also reading a new rumor that said she greenlit the Rey movie and that new trilogy as like a desperate attempt to show the others at Disney that, you know, she knows what she's doing and she can get people excited for projects. I don't think that she is in danger at this point. I think they are still interested in her vision, in the direction she wants to take the franchise in, and I do unfortunately feel like she's here to stay at least for a couple more years. I'd love to see her go. She has killed Star Wars, or helped kill Star Wars, in my opinion, but only time will tell. Maybe she'll be gone in a couple months. I would love that. But yeah, guys, if you have any last questions or topics, feel free to put them in chat. Favreau showed her how it's done and she hates him. Well, now, listen, I don't know Kathleen Kennedy personally. Maybe she's a fantastic individual, but she just seems like the jealous type. She seems like the type who wants all of the credit for all of the success, and if she's not getting the credit, she hates you. Parenting advice, that's different. I can't give any parenting advice. If you do not want your child watching new Disney content, do not let them watch Disney content. I cannot recommend what they should or should not be watching. So I can only tell you my opinions as an adult and as someone who previously liked a lot of Disney content. But listen, I can't give any parenting suggestions. So, good luck with that. It's gonna be she wars from now on. They need to get rid of wars, though, because honestly, that's pretty offensive and triggering, and just war, we can't have that anymore. Parenting for cats is a very, very different conversation. Kathleen Kennedy has the support of Bob Iger. From what we understand, yes, she does. And there are, from what we know, a lot of people at Disney who do really like Kathleen Kennedy. And with that being said, chat, that is going to be the end of the live stream. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I do really appreciate it. Like I said, I will be live again on Thursday. And parenting for cats, yeah. Vara doesn't let her cats watch Disney Plus content. Absolutely not. Does Carolyn have an open invitation to your live streams? Yeah, for sure. We follow each other on Twitter. So if she was to ever reach out, she would be more than welcome on the channel. Star Conflicts. That's a really good one. You know what? If we called it Star Conflicts, I'd be okay with that. You know what? Maybe conflicts is a little too bothersome. But alright guys, with that being said, I'm gonna wrap up the live stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I do really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, make sure to give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. I'll be live again on Thursday. We will be playing some more Jedi Fallen Order, preparing for the sequel, and then this weekend I will be playing Dead Island 2. Check out today's videos if you didn't see them. I talked about Call of Duty / Activision Blizzard. I talked about Cleopatra. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. But alright, thank you all so much for stopping by, and have a fantastic evening, everyone.